In this piano tutorial, we will be learning how to play Jesus at the Center by Israel and Newbreed in the key of A major. And this song was requested through the comment section. So if you have any song requests, feel free to leave them down below. And if you have any questions about the software, the hardware, or any of the sounds that I'm using, all of that is in the description below, okay? Now, what I'm basically going to do is share my approach to the song. It may be slightly different than the original, but the point is that you may take these substitutions or passing chords and apply them to other songs as well, so that we can expand our musical vocabulary, okay? So, this song is pretty simple. It starts on the 1. Jesus at the center of it all. So it starts from the 1, then a 2, or a 2 minor 7th, and then a 1 over 3. The next chord is a 4, Jesus at the center, then a 1. But let's focus on this 4 chord, right? The voicing that I'm using. This voicing, the way that I'm thinking about it is, I'm thinking about 2 chords. I'm thinking about a D with the 5th and the octave, and I like including the 9th as well in my left hand. And then I think about an F sharp with the 5th and the octave, all right? So it's an easier way of forming this chord, even though it's a D major 9. But for this open voicing, I like thinking about 2 different chords in combination. So Jesus at the center of it all. Then we went to the 1 and then a 5, right? But I want to change something here. Instead of going directly to the 5, let's use a passing chord and delay that 5 by a little bit, right? By a slight amount, okay? So instead of going directly to the 5, let's do something like this. Jesus at the center of it all. And then we go into this 5. And it's technically a 5 over 7, okay? This is the voicing that I like to use. And this chord right here, it's a B7 over A, or B dominant, okay? And it's used as a passing chord. If we think about those secondary dominants, it's basically the 5 of the next chord. And the next chord in this case is an E. So this 5 serves as a passing chord before E major, or in this case, a E major over A flat, okay? So once again, right? Now the next chord is a 4 chord, right? From beginning to the end, it will always be, it's always been you, Jesus. Right? Those are the original chords of this section of the song. But let's do something different. Right after this chord that we've just finished explaining, instead of going directly to the 4, let's use a passing chord, and it's a bit different, okay? It's voiced or it's based from this chord, right? An A9 13th, right? It's a 1, but it's dominant, including the 9th and the 13th. But we're going to voice it in this way, right? We're going to do this movement from E to F and then F sharp, and then we fill it up with the rest of the chord in the right hand. And then we go into the 4, okay? So and then we go into the 4. So from beginning to the end. Now let's include a set of diminished chords that are used mostly in gospel as a way to walk up to the 6. So it's going to sound like this, right? And then I'll explain how to form them. From beginning to the end. Right? I hope hope you were able to catch those chords right here, right before the 6, okay? And these are used as passing chords. And basically what I'm doing is, I know that I want to go to the 6, right? So I'm just going to explain my thought process. I'm going to the 6, which is an F sharp minor. So what I do is, I'm using this F sharp minor in my right hand, and I bring down my bass note 3 half steps down to get this E flat half diminished chord. So that's going to be my first diminished chord, or in this case half diminished. And then I bring up that bass note 1 half step below the 6, right, to F, and I just form a diminished chord. And these diminished chords or diminished 7th chords are very easy to form in that they're only separated by 3 half steps. So you just keep walking down 3 half steps and you get that diminished chord. But in this case, I just form it like this. I voice it in this manner, and I'm just omitting some of the notes, and you can choose whichever notes you want to omit, right? This is the liberty and freedom that you have to with these diminished 7th chords. You can basically voice them in whichever way you want. But what I do is, I start with this chord, I bring it up to this F diminished 7th, and then I land on that 6 minor chord in whichever extension or voicings that you want, okay? So, from beginning to the end, here it comes. It's always been you, Jesus, right? So that's that part of the song. And we can even include a different passing chord right after these diminished chords. So something like this. It will always be, it's always been you, Jesus. So right before that 4, we can use an A9 13th in this way, right? And then Jesus. And as you can see, this is an A9 13th, right? But we also used this chord right before. We used it when we were forming this chord, right? Now I basically just switched up the notes. I moved them around an octave or either to the left or to the right, and now I formed it in this way instead of forming it in this way, okay? And it serves as a passing chord before the 4. So it will this verse of the song repeats again, so let's jump into the chorus of the song. Nothing else matters. So here what I like to do is walk up from the 1. Nothing else matters, right? So I'm following that melody. I'm maintaining that melody note as my last note in the chords. Nothing else matters. And I finish off on that D major 9 13th chord, okay? There's a different variation that we can also do in this part. Using the left hand more intensely, we can do something like this. Nothing else, right? So I basically play A, E, and A, so but the right hand stays the same. Nothing else matters. Nothing in this world will do. All right, so here I use the 6 as a passing chord before the 2, right? Matters. I use this 6 chord, right? F sharp minor 9 11 or minor 11th, and then I went to that 2, which is part of the original chord. So matter. Nothing in this world will do. We're back to the 1. And here I like using this very popular gospel movement. Right? It's sort of inner movements because the outside of the chord stays the same while the inside is changing. We basically play an A major 7th in this voicing, an And I like doing this grace note right here from D to the E. And then we change it into a D over A. And then we finish off on that A major, okay? So nothing in this world will do. Jesus, you're the center. Here we're basically doing the same thing but with different inversions. Jesus, you're the center. Right? I played a 6. In this case, it's a little bit stretched. It's still the same chord, but it's an F sharp minor in the left hand and the E major on the right hand. And then the 2 chord, B minor 7, sorry. Everything revolves around you. And then we're to the 6, Jesus, you. Okay, but let's include a different passing chord in this same progression, right? Jesus, you're the center. Everything revolves around you. We can do something like this, right? This chord right here to C sharp 7 altered, and we can use this as a passing chord before the 6, and in this case F sharp minor 11th as the 6. Okay, now this chord right here, an easy way of memorizing it as an altered chord, it's basically a C7 or C sharp 7. I like omitting this 5 chord, and my right hand just plays an A major. Okay, you can even use a G major. It gives it sort of a different sound. It's still an altered chord, so something like this, and then you resolve to the 6. Okay, so everything revolves around you, Jesus, you. And that repeats again, but let's move on to the part that goes from my heart to the heavens. So from my heart, so 5 heavens, 6, 1, 4, 5. Right? We can change it up and do a 7. These are simple chords, but let's see if we can change up sort of a little bit of the progression. So from my heart to the heavens, we can use a diminished chord right before the 6. Jesus, be the center. And we can do something like this as an A sus chord right before, then A dominant, and then we go to the 4. It's all about you. Yes, it's all about you. From my heart to the heavens, Jesus. Right? I did a 7-3-6 progression. 7, 3, 6. Then up to the 4 chord, all right? All about you, yes, it's all about you. At the center of it all. Right here, we're basically playing the first 4 chords. The center of it all. So that's basically the whole song. And what I want to do now is play the whole song uninterrupted. That way you get a better idea of how it sounds. Okay, I hope you are able to take something away from this part of the video. And if you have any questions, you can leave them down below in the comments. Okay.